questions because I'm a curious guy, so I ask myself a lot of questions and I love to answer questions as well. My first question to all of you is, this morning when you woke up, did your mind leave the bed before your body did? Just a quick raise of hand. Okay. And did the mind brush the teeth or got ready before you did, your body did for the college? Yeah? Just a quick raise of hand. It's going to be a little physical exercise, but let me know. Okay. Let's recall the last 1 week and try to remember, when was the last time the mind and the body were together? They were in unity in the moment that you were living. When was that? We can have a mic next to you and you can maybe voice. Yeah? Would you agree if I say life happens when mind and body are together with each other? Yeah? Would you agree with that? Sure. Come on, let's have a conversation. I'm not here to give you some life-changing advices. I'm here to ask and answer questions. So, would you agree to that? Just a quick raise of hand if you think life happens when the mind and the body are together. Yes? When was the last time life happened to you? Please.
So, maybe during having a conversation with someone, because at that moment of time I was not thinking about something else. I was just in that moment and talking to somebody.
And how frequent does that happen? Like, is it the daily practice? Let's say an hour a day maybe? Once a week, an hour a day or 2 hours a day, this happens that mind and body are together and we know what we're doing, we know life is happening to us.
Once and twice or thrice days.
Okay. And life is an ongoing experience, isn't it? So if it's only happening once or twice or thrice a week for a brief time, are we not wasting life, such a precious thing? Did you ever ask this question to yourself? Okay. How many of you understand mindfulness? When I say the word mindfulness, what comes to your mind?
So it's me being in the present moment, just being here, knowing about what's going around you and not thinking about anything else. Yes, so that for me is what is mindfulness. It's being aware of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your body processes. That is being mindful.
Okay, wonderful. Beautifully explained. You may write a book about it, I'm sure. Yeah, as simple as it is, mindfulness is just being aware. But sometimes we see people talking about mindfulness and maintaining that state of awareness without being judgmental about the emotions and everything else. But don't you think that's a lot of work? How can you resist and not be judgmental about a moment? I am here, very excited, but I am still a little biased. I am being judgmental. I am so grateful for all of you for being here and listening to me. We've never met before. You don't know me, but still we are sharing our lives together for at least an hour or so. So I can't help but be judgmental. So simply, mindfulness is a modern title for being aware. That's what it is. You decide if you are being mindful of the things and people around you, or if you are being mindful of your own self, own thoughts, own emotions, and own experiences that are happening. So awareness is what I'm here to talk about. And second thing I want to talk about is relationships. I guess they are important as much as everything else is. How many of you are in relationships? Just a quick raise of hand. And you might just close your eyes and just raise your hand. Nobody has to find out. Let's close our eyes and if you feel like. How many of you are in relationships? Okay? No? Just 5-7 people? And what came to your mind? Exactly, that's the question. That's what I'm coming to. When I asked the question, they didn't even ask with whom. They said we are, maybe. So that implies that a relationship with somebody else in the world. But how about a relationship with yourself? Have we broken up already with ourselves? Do we have a relationship with ourselves? And now what is the relationship all about? How do you treat yourself when you are angry? How do you treat yourself when you wake up in the morning? How do you treat yourself when things are not going the way you planned and you hoped they would? So we'll talk about these two things. I am happy to take questions. I think that's going to be the fun part. Me standing here and talking all the nonsense doesn't make a difference, at least in a long run. To begin with, this mic is little. To begin with, is it okay if we could do a quick breathing practice? Yeah? Sure. This one is better. Okay, to do that, can we have our eyes closed for the next 2 or 3 minutes? And let go of things you are holding, your bags, your phones, and anything else. Just put them beside.
Not quite audible.
Yeah. Can we fix the mic, sir? I have to swipe my credit card to buy a new mic and carry it all along. I have this one, but we also need a wireless one. Okay. Sit however you want, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Shoulders loosen up or straight, or relaxed, slouch, rest your back against the chair, any way you want. And gently close your eyes. As you close your eyes, just follow my voice. And the first thing we do once we close our eyes is notice that we've disconnected from at least the visual senses. Now all we have is breathing, and all we have is feel this nice fresh air and a voice. And as you take a breath in, try to follow the breath. Try to follow how it travels through your nostrils to your brain, to your body, making its way all the way down to your chest. Observe rise in the chest, in the stomach, and let this breath you took come out, and let it go with all that you're holding. Any judgments, any imaginations of the past, of the future, anything at all, and exhale. And with the next breath in, do the same thing. Breathe in. Observe the path. See how it travels. And come back. So as we breathe in, let's call it life. Essentially, that's what it is. Breathing makes life possible. So as you breathe in, you're breathing in life. And as you breathe out, you're sharing this life with others, right here beside you in this moment. And with the next breath in, let's try to think about things that we have, starting with as little as the chair we have to sit, the clothes that we have, the food that we ate this morning, having access to this free, fresh air to breathe, making life possible. And also, people we have in our lives to care about us, to love us, to support us. Our teachers, professors, having access to education, all these things that so many other people do not have. And above all, let's realize that we are still alive and we still have access to everything that we just imagined. How many people are there in the world who were alive yesterday and they're not on the planet today? Hundreds, thousands, don't know. We still have life, we still have things, we still have people around us, we still have food, we still have access to education. And as you exhale this time, let this gratitude float around you. Be grateful for all we have and all we can have, and life is still happening. You can inhale once again, and this time you can be thankful for the person who made it possible for you to have food this morning. We have never met this person or these people. And as you exhale, try to give thanks, be grateful for all these people who've made our life possible. Food, clothes, power, money, love, relationships, all of that. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, and if you feel like, you can rub your palms together, place them over your eyes, and feel the warmth people have shared with you. Does this make a difference? The only difference it would make is, for the last 2-3 minutes, you were not able to, or you were not living elsewhere. You were living right here, sitting on this chair, breathing, realizing that you're alive, realizing you have things that many other people do not have, and realizing that we have a life that so many people lost this morning. What else can be the greatest accomplishment or greatest possession than having access to life? And ma'am spoke about people giving up on their own lives. I have to talk about this because it's important, and this is one of the things we are doing, helping people speak at least, and then we'll open up for questions. One thing I have to say, just to reiterate on what ma'am said, the kind of thoughts that pushes one to take his or her own life, they don't build up in one day. They don't really pop up one day, one morning you wake up and say, okay, I'm tired of life. It happens over a long period of time. Gradually it builds up. And why it builds up has a lot of reasons. The sources may be different. For example, if you observed, every emotion that we feel, everything that we feel finds a place in the body somewhere. It's like you buying things, stuff it in a room or a bag or a backpack, and never take anything out. Just keep stuffing on things, keep putting things in the bag or in life, and keep experiencing things and not share. Because there is so much judgment involved. We can't help it. Judgment is the most abundant resource we have around us. Even if you don't want one, there is always one. And when that happens, it pushes us back to hold things that we should have shared with other people. This fear of judgment has done more damage than potentially a war. So what we did was, in 2020, while this COVID lockdown was going on, we started a foundation. We said, okay, people are sitting at home, they don't have access to things, they don't have access to going out, they're not able to go out, they're not able to meet people. Let's help them. So we started a foundation with a toll-free number and said, just call. Okay, there's no therapy involved, there's no judgment, there's no counseling. Just call and share whatever is going on, whatever it is. And it'll be completely confidential. And the people who were, so when we asked them to share, we also requested volunteers to come on board and speak to these people. So some volunteers came on board and they said, okay, we would love to talk, we would love to hear. And people called, and these volunteers, we gave them a title of non-judgmental friends. And it's okay, just call and talk, and you won't be judged for sure. You don't have to share your name, you don't have to share anything, just talk. And thousands of people called, surprisingly. October 10th we started on the Mental Health Day. By December 31st there were hundreds and close to 1,000 people, and then as it moved on, we noticed 5,000 people called over that, and they all had something to share. It was not necessarily a challenge, it was not necessarily a problem, but the only thing is they were not able to share. There was so much judgment. You might have 100 friends in your phone book, in your social media, on your social media accounts, but do we have that one friend who is never going to judge you, is never going to talk about what you shared and make you feel insecure? So that, when we started, and of course we did record call for legal purposes, but we never shared that kind of data. That helped us to understand that why people take these extreme steps and why people really hold so much baggage inside their minds. One of the greatest, I would say, reason behind not just sufferings, but people who also took extreme steps, as people shared their stories, we found that relationships are a big reason, especially among young people. Insecurities, jealousies, being unfaithful, being so many things, and that's just one thing. There are hundreds of other reasons, so we compile all of them, but relationship topped it. It beat everything else by a big margin. So we said, okay, let's do something about it, because we learned from that and we wanted to help them. The idea was not just to listen to them, but also, of course, these people felt better, but there was a much larger audience to be served and to be helped. A lot of people. So we started to travel, and Mindful Souls was going on for quite some time. We were working for kids primarily, and then we thought, okay, we assume that young people can manage on their own. They have so many resources, they have help, they have counselings and whatnot. Kids, on the other hand, they did not. But turns out, everybody has their fair share of problems, regardless of the age. It's just the nature of problem changes, nature of these challenges change, but the problems are there. So we started to travel, we started to speak with people, and we thought, let's do something on a very sustained, in a very sustained manner. So we are trying to build a community of people wherever you are, in a very close circle, so you can always have someone to speak with and be sure that you will not be judged. So that community is basically not just in India, but it's also intended to serve people from outside India as well. But that's on the work side. I came here to talk about two things: awareness, I mentioned, and your relationships. So let's just start with awareness. I can keep going on and on, it won't make any much more sense, but I would love questions indeed. And if you think, or if you feel that my question might embarrass, your question might embarrass you, you can always anonymously ask those questions later. But while we are still here, I would love to take questions. And towards the end, there's a very special thing I want to share with all of you. Yeah. We can circulate the mic and let's talk. It doesn't have to be that silent. Yeah. Sure.
Good morning, sir. My name is Mridul Singh Tomar. I'm a student from Biological Sciences. It's a bit embarrassing, but I have been a patient of schizoaffective disorder for past 7 years. Actually, I went to Canada for my undergraduate program, but I was living alone. So in that process, I developed this disorder, and it's been really hard on me. It bothers me a lot, and I have been seeking help from counselors and psychiatrists over there. And when I came back to India, I was feeling a bit anxious to talk about my disorder to the people around here because it's a taboo over here that okay, if you have mental illness, people judge you like you're not a good person or you don't belong here, or it's just people are making stories. They will just make these judgment about you. But while I was in Canada, they are quite open about this kind of issues. They don't judge you like people judge, but not in a large amount of number. There are very few people who judge you, and like they have this day. Like the day we have about mental illness in India, they also have this day in Canada where they talk about mental illness and how to support these students or people all over Canada. So I used my counselor, the university where I was studying, the counselor asked me like if you can share your experience with other people so that people can relate to you and find a little bit of peace, and they can open up about their issues. Like if they have something, they won't be ashamed of sharing their ideas and their problems with others. So actually the reason for my illness was I'm visually impaired I'm blind from one eye, and I have low vision in other eye. So when I was living alone, I had to do my stuff all by myself. I went under surgeries, multiple surgeries, and it was really hard to take care of yourself when you're alone after surgeries. It's really it takes a lot energy out of you to take care of yourself. You need emotional support when you have any physical illness. Also, the region where I was staying in Canada, it rains a lot over there. At times you don't see the sun for months and months.
Yeah.
It rains a lot in that region, in Vancouver, it's in Western Canada. So that was another reason for me to get into depression, and later it became schizoaffective disorder.
Yeah.
It's a combination of schizophrenia and OCD. It's so it's inversely proportional to each other. If my schizophrenia goes up, my OCD will go down, and if OCD goes up, schizophrenia will go vice versa. So it's really hard. Sometimes when people are talking to me, I have this tendency to ask them questions a lot of times. It irritates them, and I've personally seen my mother is usually offended because I ask so many questions because of my mental illness. And sometimes I feel that I shouldn't be alive, I should kill myself because it's a burden on my parents and people I know, and it's really hard to see people getting offended because of my illness, and it's really hard to open up with others in my class. And I've seen I shared with one of my classmates about my mental illness, and after I shared it, as I said, it's a taboo in India about sharing your mental illness issues. So when I shared it with that person, he stopped talking to me, and he started telling me that I'm not so much open, but he was talking to other people, he was quite open to others, and he was talking very well to them. But when I opened about my illness, he stopped talking to me, and he said oh, I have my personal space and I don't want to talk to you, and he just started ignoring me. So that made me more anxious, and I was oh, I shouldn't have told him about my illness. And it's really hard to talk about it to others. So that after that I stopped telling to other people that oh, I have mental illness as well. So that's it. It's really hard to because my thoughts keeps bothering me. For example, like if someone says something to me, I will try to listen it as many times as possible until I'm satisfied that whatever I heard was what my brain is perceiving it as. So, and sometimes it's really confused. I get confused because of my OCD. Like a lot of thoughts are coming, and it's like a flash flood. So, like I try to ignore it, but it's really hard. It's really hard. Like I feel like killing myself at times because. Like it's not because like people are not understanding me, but I feel so overwhelmed because of myself. I'm like I'm facing like I feel like I'm going through a lot, and it's like a burden like which you cannot come out of it. So I should probably end my life. That's what's keep me like bothering me a lot because whenever I'm asleep or I'm awake or I'm waking up or about any smallest to smallest thing, like I feel overwhelmed and anxious. Like for example, like I want to give one more example because I'm visually impaired as well as like I have this mental health issues. So at times I feel like what if my teachers are thinking that I'm making excuses about my both the disorders and like I'm just trying to seek attention. So like I feel overwhelmed and I feel like I try to like it bothers me a lot that how will I satisfy them that I'm really going through hard times and like I really have these problems going on. So like that bothers me a lot, and suddenly if I'm in class and sometimes I try recognizing the person, like I can see the colors and shape of that person if they're far away from me. So I try to strain my eyes to take a better look at that person, like to recognize their face. So at times I just listen. I don't make those facial expressions when I'm trying to recognize that person. I'm just hearing and listening to them. So I feel like, oh, what is that person that's judging me and saying that this person is just trying to seek attention and he doesn't have any disability?
Let me answer your questions. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
I think in a very long time, I haven't met a person who's as courageous as you are. Salute to you. And I'm not saying to make you feel better. I don't lie unless I have to, but I don't have to at the moment. I'm going to do two things. One, we'll give you the number for our helpline. It's obviously you are getting overwhelming thoughts and all, so you do of course need help, and we have to be very transparent about what we can do. So whenever you feel overwhelmed, we are not a suicide prevention helpline, we are not a counseling or a therapist helpline, but we are here to listen. I think the things that you've just shared, if you keep doing that for quite some time, you will feel that you have, every passing day, you have a lot less to hold back, a lot less baggage in your mind, and this will go for sure. For now, I'm going to answer two of your questions. Number one, initially you mentioned that you don't feel self-worth, you don't feel that I'm valued and people judge a lot. Let me ask you a question. Imagine you have an apartment, a very nice one. You have the key, there is only one key. How many people do you have in your life who really care about you? Except those people, would you give this key to this apartment to all? Everybody who hurts you, would you give this key, would you share this key of your apartment? Your mind, your life is that apartment. Who do you want to give the key to judge you? That's your call. There may be thousands and millions or billions of people who want to judge you, but that's something you have to decide. Who has the key? Okay, so there is a lot of noise in the world, people who don't add value to your life or just only make you feel that you're not worth something. That's going to happen. It's never going to stop. You have to make that change, that who has the key to your life to judge you. You're trying to put potatoes as seeds in the ground. You want more potatoes to grow. And when you do that, 2 days pass by, you are getting curious, you're getting impatient, you say, has something happened? So you would dig it up again and say, oh, nothing has happened. You put it back again. 3 days later, 4 days later, it'll happen. And that's the very same thing we do with not just being aware, but also with yoga, with patience, with other things in life, building habits or mindfulness or anything else. The idea is we start with an objective and we start with an expectation that if I do it for 5 days or my subscription for this meditation class is for a month, so something should happen in a month. And when that doesn't happen, you get impatient, you get restless. Oh, I've wasted my money, give me my money back. But with time, you can't do that. So when you're starting with an objective and you're starting with an expectation of a magic or some sort of transformation, some sort of change, some sort of awareness or clarity, then your awareness is already scattered. Okay, so it's half of it is already living in the future with this expectation you have from this practice. Very long sentence, but in short, you're not doing it because for the sake of doing it, you're doing it because you want a certain outcome of it. When that happens, it's your heart, your body might be here, mind maybe 50%, but not entirely on this. And you can keep doing that for years. Nothing will happen. And that's why yoga, meditation, mindfulness, or any other practice, they don't work, they don't bring a change in everybody's life. A lot of people try and then say, oh, it didn't work for me because this did not happen. So maybe this is not my cup of tea. Second question. When you find yourself in a state of being restless, when you close your eyes or find something, I think with me, I don't know, it might happen differently with other people. The moment you close your eyes, you are disconnecting from the world, at least visually. And the visual senses give you a lot of ideas and a lot of emotions. I look at happy face and I feel happy. I look at angry faces and I feel sad and all that stuff. So I'm instantly disconnecting with the visual world out there. Now all I have is at least 90% is my imagination, either from the past or the future. And somewhere you find this, like you said, you be emotional. We are emotional all the time. Anger is also an emotion. Happiness is also an emotion. Every emotion is there. It's just that you've kind of redirected your awareness to yourself, not to the outside world. And doing it for the sake of doing it is the way. Don't do it for an objective or an outcome. It won't happen that way. So if you feel restless, that's fine. If you feel impatient, you feel like crying, go ahead, do it. Nobody promised you a certain outcome. It's not an exam that you have to score this much. You do it because this is the way of life. Make sense? It won't make sense immediately. It will take some time as you practice. The idea is if you feel restless, let it be. You don't try to control everything, because eventually things will happen in their own way. You will feel disappointed. Oh, I planned this, happened something else. And then you will be disappointed. Yeah. Sure, yes.
Hello sir, my question is how to deal with insecurity. Like sir, I have some visual problems, so I usually take my phone to here only, and then I can see the phone. Okay, then in public places, I find some difficulties to look phone because everybody is seeing me. Okay, so I used to go a place where less people are there and see that my phone. And but in home, when I am in my home, तो मैं सोचता हूँ सर कि मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ता, जो देखेंगे कोई दिक्कत नहीं. लेकिन वही सिचुएशन नेक्स्ट टाइम क्रिएट होता है तो फिर मैं साइड का जगह ढूंढता हूँ कि वहाँ जाके मैं देखूँ. तो सर इससे कैसे डील किया?
Thank you. बहुत सारे situations में it happens that we don't want to expose ourselves to the world out there. We don't want other people to know what's going on in my life, and we don't want other people to judge me for how I look, how I stand, how I talk, what challenges do I have physically, emotionally, kuch bhi. Because everybody has a secret. I want to hold on to my own secrets in public places. आप शायद इसलिए feel करते हो because you don't want everybody else to know that what are you going through. ठीक है? लेकिन imagine you bought some birds, with a cage. Now that very cage is protecting the bird from the outside, the other ones who might attack this bird, bigger ones, but it's also a confinement for the same bird, so he or she, it cannot go out and fly. So you think कि आपका protection, the security that you want, do you want it for your own freedom, own protection, or do you want to confine yourself कि आपको खुद को उसमें block करना है? It's just the perception. आपकी problem 2 मिनट में solve हो सकती है. You decide what you want. Security would come from your own ideas. It won't come from other people. Everybody else here, nobody can give you that security. So you are the commander of your own life, and you plan कि मुझे कैसे जीना है. Do I have to give rights to everybody to judge me for how I look? What challenges am I going through physically, mentally? That right is always with yours. वो privilege आपको किसको देना है, that's your call. Making sense? So when you go home next time, write it down or record it on your phone and say, I control, I decide who get to judge me, who get to impact my life in any way possible. उसके अलावा everything is a noise, everything is a distraction. Nobody wants distractions. That's your security. Make sense? Yeah. I had somebody in the back here. नहीं आ रहा.
So first of all, thank you so much for being here. So now I'm happy. मैं खुश हूँ. I have to love myself. मैंने सोच लिया, पर कैसे?
Okay. Okay. I was expecting if somebody would ask this question. Can I stand here and talk? Okay. Okay. Let's define love. I think आगे ही जाते हैं. Okay, so we spoke about love so much and all that, self-love, respect, all that stuff, but we haven't really defined love, and unless you do it, you can't have it for yourself. So the simplest definition of love, self-love, or love at all, is it's the most absolute and most concentrated emotion. Very absolute, very thick, very strong one. And before you can love yourself, you have to have courage, because love will test you in different events of your life. For example, the first step that I am asking you to take is form your own authority, own your boundaries within this circle. So if I'm standing here, if I draw a circle around me, that would be my core space. That would be the most inner space I have, and nobody gets to enter this. Now you decide within this circle where I am standing, what do you want to have in this circle? Respect for yourself. Let's say you put things, respect, love, confidence, faith, all that stuff. Who do you allow to enter this circle and touch those things or impact those things? Then draw a bigger circle. That's where your family comes in. That's where your siblings and other people come in. The very first step is your idea of love. Love can make you feel secure. It can make you feel valued, confident, blessed. So many other emotions, because everything begins with this. And my idea of love doesn't need to be yours. It could be selfless. It could be very much, let's just say, strong respect, sense of respect, sense of compassion, sense of, let's just say, kindness, whatever, however you want to decide. The idea is to begin it with yourself and decide this is how I want to be treated, and with your actions you let other people know that this is how I want to be treated. If you can't do it, you're welcome in my life. You cannot do it, you must accept it or leave. It's like those websites have cookies. I accept or leave the website. Thank you. So you want to be accepted as on your own terms, not how somebody else defines or treats you. Should make a little difference. Yeah? Okay.
So I had this question. So I'm usually a kind of hello. Oh, it's right now. No. Okay. So
I'll come. Okay. Lot of travel. Nobody told me there's travel involved.
So I'm usually a kind of person, so if I don't talk about things, it bothers me a lot. So basically that means I'm dependent on people, right? So as long as I'm with my own, it becomes very intrusive and becomes very problematic as well. So I don't want to be dependent on people. Like I want to solve things for myself. So how do I deal with that?
I like that question a lot because anything to do with freedom is my favorite thing. See, ask yourself, what are you seeking from others? Are you seeking self-worth? Are you seeking support, security, trust, respect? Anything that you're seeking from somebody, that somebody also has to give it to you if they have it. So if somebody else can have that, why can't you have that? He or she is just another human being just like yours, just like you, sorry. Yeah? So if you expect that from me or from somebody, you should at least expect it from yourself, because that person eventually will also expect the same thing from you. So relationships can't be a one-way street. It has to be give and take. So when I give you respect, if I give you trust or faith or security, at one time I would also expect that from you. That means you should have it, or it's not going to survive. And if you have it, you don't have to ask anyone else from outside. Every solution, any way you want to feel is inside you. That's the reason I asked you this question, that who are you? Once you find that out, you'll find many things that you've never discovered. So you being able to share things with others is fine, but life shouldn't stop if you don't share it with others. You share it with yourself first. The best way to do that is write. If you don't like our voices, if you like yours, you just record it, play it back. When other people see that you are able to live on your own without having a dependency on anybody else, they will be attracted to you. They would want to be with you. Because you want, it's like a cat thing, you chase the cat runs away, the cat runs away even further, and if you have what the cat wants, everybody is happy. The cat would come to you. So you start doing some digging inside. That's something we don't do usually. If you do that, you'll find all the gold mines inside, all of them. And it'll happen gradually. It will not be like one day you wake up and you are transformed, but at least that's why we said again, seed something today. Just this question should be enough, that who are you? And you'll find a lot of answers. Yeah. Make sense? Right? Yeah.
Hello sir, so I wanted to ask, how do you tackle living in future? I usually do this, doesn't matter you have 3 months, doesn't matter you have 1 year. I keep everything planned, I keep everything pre-planned. So if this happens, I'll do that. If this happens, I'll go the other way. So how healthy is this, and how do you tackle this?
So when you plan something, you're assuming that things would go your way, right? And everything is in your control. Every situation has to be favorable to this outcome that you want. And is it Murphy's law? I think anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah, it's like a helicopter; it might break any time. There is no certainty. So imagine you bought something on EMIs. You bought it, let's say a car. So instead of driving that car, you're planning about the next first EMI, second EMI, third, fifth, and 120th. And you're living your life in EMIs. What you brought with that kind of, that EMI stuff is of no value, because you've already teleported yourself in the future. It's kind of wasting. It's fine to plan things. It's fine to plan bigger things. For example, what do you want to do in your life? How do you want your life to go? That's something you should plan. But always be ready for something that might come your way and just ruin that plan. But otherwise, life is happening now. However you deal with it, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much power do you have, how many people you have in your life. You cannot possibly live in the next moment with your body and mind. And that comes to the very same thing I said in the beginning. Life only happens when the mind and body are together. And if that is not happening, you are not living. We are not living. It's just survival. So we don't want survival, do we? So redeem it while you still have it. A lot of people yesterday thought about doing things in the future, and all we have is their name today. A lot of other people. And there's no guarantee of life. Okay, we are right across. Thank you.
So my question is about, dealing with the friendships. So this is a situation, like I have a friend of mine who's going through something, and he has told us like I'm going through something, and he's also consulting therapy and all. But sometimes it get overwhelming for us also to deal with him, because we want to be good friends, we want to support him every time, we don't want to isolate him or anything. But he did it for himself, like isolating himself from us, and not talking about his problems. So it also get overwhelming for us to how to deal with situations like this, and how to become a better friend in such a situation, because we also feel guilty, like we are always concerned about him, and we also feel guilty like if we cannot help him. So how can we deal with that, and does it have anything to deal with the relationship that we have with ourselves?
Okay. I think the very thought of being there for somebody in a better way is commendable enough. You have compassion, of course, that's good. You have my respect for that. Somebody who's isolating himself or herself, there are plenty of reasons behind. Number one is there is always so much insecurity and fear of judgment involved, even within friends. Because we live in such a transactional world that every morning we have to prove that I am worthy of this relationship, even if friendship or anything else, or it's going to break off. People break off over text messages, even friends and anything else. So we live in a world that every morning I have to do this task to be able to be part of that relationship. And somebody who has that fear will potentially isolate himself or herself, say, I don't want to deal with this anymore, because there is insecurity involved. I may as well share something with you today. I'm not sure if you're going to be my friend tomorrow, or you can use that against me, or that makes you feel vulnerable. So one thing is, of course, try to convince that there is no judgment involved for whatever is going on in his life. In this case, there is no judgment involved. You have to convince. Second, having that relationship, the question that you asked, it should not impact, because in two ways, you're trying to be there for him. You want his good, but also you want your own good. because it's your life too. You've got nothing to worry about. All I see or imagine there is a fear of judgment, insecurity. Once you take that out of that friendship equation, I think people will open up. One thing that should help is give our number, the helpline's number. Let him share, and let us play that role. So you've shared it with us. Let us be his non-judgmental friend. Maybe help you a little bit. He doesn't have to know because we don't ask. Yeah, sure. So take that number, please. I should have brought my scooter to travel all the way from here. I have one.
Right. So this is.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Please.
Perfect. This is more of a personal question, if you don't mind. So when you were talking about the monastic life that you went forward to, so it's a twofold question. One, what motivated you to leave the materialistic world and go towards that life? And the second question would be, what made you come back to this life?
I love it. Thank you. I'll stand here and answer this question. Number one is nobody wants to go to a monastery unless you plan to sell being a monk in the material world. Say I went to a monastery, now I'm selling you this because I know all the enlightenment process. So you buy my 4 weeks course and I'll sell you enlightenment. Maybe there are people, I'm not saying there are. I was a curious guy always, so I wanted to dig down and find why things happened, what prompts certain things, certain events to take place in life. So that's why I went, and monastery was not the first place. So what I did was I made some paper slips when I was completely lost, like a fox. I didn't know anywhere to go, so I made some paper slips. I wrote some city's name on them. I said whatever I pick, I'll go there. So first city came was Ahmedabad, and I landed at 12ish in the middle of the night, and I started roaming on the streets. I didn't have a map, I didn't have a destination to go, and I was free. So when you are free, when you don't have to worry about who's going to judge you, somebody's waiting for you somewhere, you kind of open up to yourself. When I was in the monastery, it was not like I was living there 24 hours. I lived somewhere close, and the entire day I practiced. Some days I came back home 2 days, 3 days, and then went back again. What made me come back, it was not that I would settle down there and be a teacher, but I feel that I have compassion, always have felt that way, and whatever little I learned, whatever little I think I know, it would be selfish of me to just hold it to myself. So I thought, why not just share it and make something of life? I also, it's not that I just immediately came back. I traveled to a lot of places, remote mountains and villages, and I taught kids in schools for free, of course, not the subject things, but little things about life, whatever I knew. And the more people I spoke with, the more I got this confidence that I may be a reason for a little happiness or a little joy in people's lives. So I said, okay, let's do it in a much bigger way. And we started this organization. Sure.
Just a follow-up question. So if anyone else, let's say if an XYZ person is interested in the same thing, but since we belong to a world where everybody is going forward to materialistic things, and the generation above us are also expecting the same out of us. So if someone has, if we know that this is the certain truth, and we want to explore the certain truth, but the expectations of the generation above us are in line with the current materialistic world. So how do you put forward the idea of exploring that truth and not the materialistic world to the generation above us or the parents?
I think it has to do with your self-realization. There's nothing fancy happening there, okay? All the good things that you want are happening inside you. What you do there is you, in a way, disconnect with the material world, and you don't have gadgets. Of course, you are allowed to have gadgets and all, but what you have is more like-minded people who are practicing, who are talking about things, who are teaching you a thing or two to have this inward journey into your own mind. I think if you want in an exploratory way, sure, go ahead, spend a day or two. I'm not endorsing that. If you want to take that journey, spend a day or two, come back, see how it feels, but don't do it just for the sake of all the excitement, what lies behind that. There's nothing that is not here. Yeah, sure.
So we've been talking about how we are there for people and we try to talk to our friends and we trust people and we obviously expect them to be there for us in the same situations. But at various given points, when you have an outburst or you want to talk about something with another person, after you've done that, there is a sort of guilt which settles in. Something along the lines of what if that person had their own stuff to deal with and you just pile them up with a lot of burden. Which is fair, but also that if you're there for them, you expect them to be there for you in return. So how do you deal with that guilt? Because you can't always sort out everything yourselves, and at times you just need people to be there for you, but that guilt does not allow that.
I think being there for somebody out of compassion is what we all humans had. It got diluted in some way during this evolution that we had as human beings. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the organization. I'll keep bringing it up because that is one of the reasons that motivated us to kind of reinstill that core human value. Being compassionate, and it's not a weak strength. People think about kind people, compassionate people as the weaker ones, but being compassionate takes a lot of courage. You cannot be there for somebody if you cannot be there for yourself. And the part of the guilt part that you just mentioned, I think out of compassion, if you are doing something for somebody, the first thing you do is treat yourself as somebody who has something to give and expect or pray that you don't need. Because you have compassion for yourself, you're not dependent upon anyone. Yes, we need people to help us, but that's why I say choose people carefully in your life. Who do you want in your life? And the kind of person you become, the kind of person you tell or your actions tell other people will attract the like-minded people. And there won't be a space for guilt or regrets or anything else. They will see you as the one who's in need of help. And I think you won't need to ask for it if you have those kind of people. So find yourself, and everybody else in the same way, of the same character, will find you. Attract people, don't chase. Anyone? Okay. Can I say something that I've been holding on for quite some time? And it's a question that I wanted to learn. If you could all change one thing in your life or solve one problem today, what would that be? We just want to learn and give it back to other people who might just... What is the biggest source of anxiety or stress or worry or anything you have in your lives? So one smart way to do that is, I can ask you to follow our Instagram, so that we will have a lot of followers, and you share it, or you can share it now, it's up to you. We just want to learn and give it back. That's all we care about, yeah?
So I think I would change my overthinking problem. I overthink a lot, so that.
Okay.
Sir, I remember I read this quote in business studies when we were in 12th class that an attempt to control everything leads to controlling nothing. So, despite knowing that when we control things, we are completely out of control of them, we tend to control things. And then we get disappointed in all the other negative feelings of anxiety and everything. So I think one thing I think each one of us would like to give up is to control life. I think we would just let this thing happen to us, but this will not affect the way we live life. The quality of life, I think, is something I would like to work on personally, and would like to increase the quality of it by giving up control of life.
Okay. Wonderful. Please, yeah.
If
I would like to change something, actually I react very quickly. Something will happen, I'll react in within a fraction of a second. If someone will say something, how dare you to say this, I just react very quickly, and it sometimes leads to very disastrous situation, and the consequences are unbearable.
Okay.
So I'll really love to change that habit of mine, not to react very quickly and without thinking.
Can I help you with something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Realization and reaction, they are kind of chained with each other so nicely. They're weaved into each other that you don't see